Ole! La fiesta! Right. Oh, thank you so much for coming out tonight. First of all, I'd love to thank Jo Bennett for the use of her lovely home. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous place. It's the beautiful weather and so forth. So thank you very much. Yay, Jo. Yay, Jo. Also, I'd like to thank the Arkansas Public Policy Panel who helped facilitate the fiesta, and also Omni and the Citizens Climate Lobby who helped organize and bring this event together. One person I'd like to particularly thank within the Citizens Climate Lobby is Shelley Boniuto, because back in 2013, Shelley, back in 2013, it was a rough year for the Citizens Climate Lobby, and there were many evenings when Shelley was the only person to show up for a meeting. So she has held us together. We're very appreciative for that. We're very appreciative for the team of volunteers that made this possible. There were so many wonderful people. It's hard to thank everyone, but I would like to thank you for all your support. And finally, I want to thank all of you who came out tonight to help us raise the necessary money to get this study done. Yeah, we're going to talk a bit about that a little later, but right now I would like to finally thank Waste Reduction Resources for making this a waste-free event. There is going to be no waste or throwaways, so let's give them a big hand. This is probably one of the biggest waste-free events that we have been associated with, so it's awesome. And now I'd like to turn the mic over to Anna Weeks, who is the environmental policy person with the Arkansas Public Policy Panel, and she's going to say a few words. Anna?
Yay!
There she is.
Anna Weeks, and I am the Environmental Policy Associate with the panel. Closer.
Right in.
That's
real close.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Anna Weeks, and I'm the Environmental Policy Associate with the panel, and I want to say thank you all for being here, and thank you for this beautiful house. This is a great place to be and a beautiful day. I have been working with the Citizens Climate Lobby for the past 2 years on this campaign. That they have a great campaign, that they've been really dedicated to planning strategically and thinking way ahead as far as what strategies they're going to use and the best step forward to create a plan that is dedicated to achieving public health benefits for the state and environmental benefits through an economically just policy. And at the panel, these are all goals that we work to achieve. That our mission is to work with organizations on a statewide level to work for social, economic, and environmental justice, and it has been an honor and a pleasure to work with this group on a campaign that encompasses all of these. And I just want to say thank you to them and their dedication, and one strong component of a campaign is to have fundraising events like this where you get your information out and engage new donors and participants, and that meeting new people is always a strong component of a campaign. I want to introduce the co-chairs of the Citizens Climate Lobby, Chris McNamara and Patrick and Kim, I'm sorry. And thank you all. This is a great opportunity for the panel to be engaged on this, and the panel works statewide on all of these issues. So if you have any questions about our work, please contact me or Caitlin. I'll turn it over to you. Chris?
That would be Patrick. You're up. That's what
Shelley? Can we get off?
All right.
Are they getting off big?
Wait a minute, I think, we're supposed to get to the song.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is this a song?
We'll do that.
So we need to get those words out there. Robert?
They've been passing them out. They've already been passing them out.
Testing 1, 2, okay.
All right, the CCL really likes to do a lot of work, but we also like to have a lot of fun, as you can see. And one of the things that we found was a lot of fun was having this song that Jeff Olsner wrote. Jeff Olsner is a fantastic songwriter and activist in Fayetteville, and he attended a presentation by Robert, and he was so impressed by the policy that Robert was talking about, carbon fee and dividend. He said this policy needs a song, so he wrote it. And then he asked, still on the Hill, our own Kelly and Donna Mulholland, who we are incredibly honored to have sing this song for us. And we are going to sing a song along with them. So get out your little chorus. They'll sing the verses, and then we'll sing along with them.
And it's written here too. If you don't have it,
That's right. And it's kind of tricky. This is we're very thrilled to get a chance to do this. And by the way, this is a dream come true to see so many people here on behind this very, very important mission. And Jeff wrote this song as a way to try to explain a very complicated idea in very simple words. So it's kind of tricky.
they go fast. The words go fast.
But we want you to humor us and sing along, unless you got food in your mouth.
Yeah.
You have a card.
Yes.
And one reason it's so simple is because it's just Oh Susanna. Okay, you know that song, right? Oh Susanna. So here we go. Are you ready? All right. Let a fee be placed on carbon-based fuels at their source. Might be a well or coal mine or imports at a port. Charge a $10 fee for every ton of sooty CO2. And equally for everyone, dividends will then be due. Oh, we're gonna have to pass this fast, for the carbon fee and dividend will bring relief at last. Oh, we're gonna have to pass this soon, for the carbon fee and dividends, an economic boom.
Now this policy would raise the fee $10 more each year for every ton of CO2 that pollutes our atmosphere. Within 10 years of the carbon fee and its growing revenue, clean energy would cost us less than fossil fuels too.
Oh, we're gonna have to pass this fast, for the carbon fee and dividend will bring relief at last. Oh, we're gonna have to pass this soon, for the carbon fee and dividends, an economic boom. Here we go! Increasing carbon prices will send a message true to investors in clean energy that the time to wait is through. We've hitched too long to old king coal and petroleum resources. It's time to set our country free, get some corporate divorces. Oh, we're gonna have to pass this fast, for the carbon fee and dividend will bring relief at last. Oh, we're gonna have to pass this soon, for the carbon fee and dividends, an economic boom.
Oh, about 2/3 of the households in this country will break even or get more bucks back in dividends than their fuel costs have risen.
So the carbon fee and dividend proposal must be passed to support our poor and help restore our shrinking middle class. Oh, we're gonna have to pass this fast, for the carbon fee and dividend will bring relief at last. Oh, we're gonna have to pass this soon, for the carbon fee and dividends, an economic boom. Oh, we're gonna have to pass twice as fast, or the CO2 and climate change is gonna kick our ass.
Thank you! Jeff Osner. Actually, we added that last line. That wasn't Jeff's line.
All right. That was fun. You guys sounded good. That was awesome. So now we're on. I'm not the MC, so.
I think Joy's the beginning. Okay, now I'd like to turn it over for just a brief minute to Chris McNamara.
We just want to thank Joe Bennett for hosting this event. And where's Mina? Mina, come on out here. She made all the food that we're eating. There's a giant trash can of chips. Shelly and Barbara for making the drinks. This is Mina. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your help.
Also, I'd like to draw your attention to the silent auction over here on the east wall. There's some very good items, so before you leave, have a look. Thank you. Okay, Patrick.
Hi everyone, I'm Patrick Kinnaman, co-chair with Citizens Climate Lobby Fayetteville chapter here. I'm just going to do a quick intro on Scott Nystrom. Scott here has been one of the most incredible assets that CCL could ever imagine. He is with an organization called REMI, Regional Economic Models Incorporated, is that right? And he's been with them since about 2011. He's got a background in economics, and what REMI does is essentially they help policymakers understand the economic impacts of any policy that they're recommending. And so we came to Remy and Scott with the idea of seeing what would be the economic impact of carbon fee and dividend. And as I understand it, Scott, maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong, but the idea was it's probably not going to work out in Citizens Climate Lobby's favor, but we'll do it anyways. And turns out it ended up obviously going pretty well. So Scott has been a tremendous asset. He's now currently a senior economic associate and project manager with Remy, and just been a fantastic asset. So everybody, please welcome Scott.
All right, so evening everybody. So I'm going to do a very kind of abbreviated version of this. Some of you have maybe seen this before at the CCL National Conference last year. There's also a YouTube video of this. That's the full version of it if anybody wants to check it out. But what I'm going to talk through for everybody is what exactly did that study that Patrick just talked about show, and what are some other things we were potentially able to do with these kind of studies. So this here on the background, it's a spreadsheet. It's a chart with some pretty lines, and it's a map. And it's a map that breaks the United States up into a couple different pieces. This actually is the study that I did about a year and a half ago, the final results of it. This is what it looks like inside the software, and you're done with it. So just to give everybody a little clue of what this kind of research looks like and what exactly it tells you, I'm going to transition into the study and talk everyone through it very quickly. Okay, so what this study does basically is analyze a bunch of different things throughout the energy system. So I did a cute little clip art version of it, but essentially you all can see inside of here, it's different parts of the economy, it's different parts of the energy system. On the left you have the power sector. What type of energy generation are we going to use? Is it coal-based? Is it gas? Is it nuclear? Is it wind? Or it's solar? And the center is the actual price effect. When people see and sense prices, how do their behavior and their choices change? And on the right are businesses and households, and how does that affect the economy overall? Jobs, gross product, growth, all those things you hear presidential candidates right now promising that they're going to deliver in various means. This is the type of assessment that the field and policymakers use to actually determine that when they're looking at it. So one little point I'm going to make before I do this is REMI, regional, is the very first beginning of our acronym. So we're very much a firm that looks at the United States as a kind of grouping of different states or of different cities or different regions. So when I did this study, given the time and budgetary constraints that I had to do it by what are called census regions, which are these colors. They're not arbitrary. They're, again, census came up with them, not me. And as you can see for Arkansas, you're in a region that's called West South Central, which is lumped in with Oklahoma, Louisiana, and of course Texas, the big one. Texas kind of swamps Arkansas inside this region. It swamps the other two for that matter. So keep that in mind when we're looking at these results. And like I said, if anybody's more curious about methodology or equations or anything like that, I'm happy to talk about you. I won't pass out quizzes on the way out, I promise, so let's get past that. Okay. So this here is the set of results that the kind of research I do, not just me, it's other people at REMI, and some other firms that we sometimes work with, sometimes academics, reviewers, and the like, do. One is, of course, core economic impacts. How does this treat the economy as we all understand it? The unemployment rate, are there jobs, how well do they pay? How does this affect the climate or the emissions system? So the red one there. You all are endeavoring to reduce carbon dioxide emissions, but a fun little thing about that is carbon dioxide tends to correlate with pretty much everything else out of smokestacks and tailpipes. So how does it affect various air pollutants, nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide, ozone, a bunch of other things? The fiscal effect, so what kind of money are we talking about here? How does it affect a budget, whether it's Little Rock's or the states or the nations as a whole? Electricity sector, what happens in there? And then demographics. Something like this actually would change the long-term demographics of the United States. So this is going to be very quick. Hold on. There's more details if you want them later, but I'm going to run through what exactly this means. So jobs. It's positive. There's two reasons for this. I'll get to that in a second. But notice there's one region in here, that light blue color. That light blue color is this. It's Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, and Oklahoma. And again, because Texas is so much larger than those other states, that is more or less a Texas result. It's the same issue with the pink line at the top, which is the West Coast. California swamps that region simply because it's so much larger than everybody else. National employment total's higher. So here's one reason the jobs went up. Gross product went up, and the amazing reason for this is the United States is an importer of fossil energy. We produce a lot of it. We're one of the top 3 fossil energy producers in the world, along with Saudi Arabia and Russia, but we still import a lot of it from Canada, Mexico, Venezuela, parts of Africa, and the Middle East. If we reduce those imports, more dollars stay local within our economy, it grows. That's one reason. Second reason is the types of industries out there. So this is a very short version of this conversation, but because this dividend that CCO advocates puts money back into households, it usually ends up in what we'd all think of as spending. Consumers spend their dollars on things on the top of this list, which tend to be localized to this country, and they tend to be labor intensive. You have a lot more people working for a hospital than you do for a refinery, for instance. So that's the other reason. What an economist would call labor intensity, but it has to do with the type of economy that we have. Is it one generating mostly natural resource extraction and capital intensive industries, or is it one that's mostly oriented towards consumers and labor intensive industries? Here's emissions. I don't even probably need to narrate this one very much, but the blue line is kind of status quo, nothing changes. The yellow line, the gold line, is after CCL has its tax as we'd see it. It's a quarter of reduction in 10 years, it's roughly 50% in 20 years. Here's a little historical context. I know it's very small in the back for everybody. So it's 1850 to now, basically. So you can see the industrialization. That big dip in the middle is the Great Depression. You can see the boom of the post-war world. You can see the kind of rough period of the 1970s. So this would reduce emissions back to levels that we saw basically right after the immediate post-war. If we're putting this in a context, you can see the arch starts to slow back down. I'm going to skip through some of the revenue stuff and just go to this one. So this is the size of the dividend. You all probably saw the little checks that they're handing out, which I think are actually a really cool idea. This would actually be the size of the check for an average family. So it's per month, not per year. It starts at about $50 a month per family, and it gets up to closer to $400 per month per family by the end period that we're talking about. And this last one here is power sector. There's a heck of a lot I could talk about in this, but making it simple, the left is now, the blue stuff are coal plants, the orange stuff is gas, the red stuff is nuclear, the lime green is wind, and the gold is solar. So the current world is the left. You go to the right side, coal plants essentially go away, not all of them, but most of them, and it's replaced by a mixture, wind, solar, nuclear, some gas, some geothermal and the like. But this system on the right doesn't really have much for emissions in comparison to the system on the left. So this is the power sector making the market-based decisions about what a tax like this would mean. This one here is a reduction in premature deaths. Depending on who you ask, this is WHO number, but there's 30 to 60,000 deaths in the United States every year from premature deaths in the United States due to respiratory or cardiac illnesses related to air quality. Those go down by about half, roughly speaking, is what I'm saying as a consequence of this. And then the last one, which I just think is interesting, just to kind of show the dynamics of this in the long term, 2 regions get more people as a consequence of this. Those 2 regions are the Great Lakes states and the Great Plains states, including Missouri. That's red and green up there. They have a lot of the coal plants, so it's improvement of air quality, and that's where a lot of the wind development goes in, so that's where a lot of the young workers and labor ends up, so they actually end up growing. And that's basically it. That's what I did. I'm going to show one other quick example, though, because this is just the national level study. This actually started as a state level project for us. I was contacted about the state of Massachusetts, and I've done 2 Massachusetts studies now, and then Washington and California and Vermont and Rhode Island, and then a client of mine has actually done Oregon as well. But this is actually possible and have done at the state level, so just showing one instance of that. So again, I know it's kind of small to see for some people, but this is just for Vermont. And Vermont, it's actually a very pronounced effect because it's a New England state. It has no energy production. It's all consumption at that stage, so it's all brought in. So New England states actually work out fairly well on this. But I've done it at the state level as well, as we can kind of see. And I'm happy to share any of those studies as well with people. So like I said, I know I probably took a little longer than you guys allocated for me. Sorry. It's not easy to do this in 10 minutes. Or 20. Or 30. This presentation was written to take like 2 hours, by the way. And for those of you at CCL National, it did take 2 hours, right? All right, so thank you all. I guess we'll continue with the program. Okay.
All right, thank you, Scott, and we really appreciate you coming down and talking to us. When I first heard about carbon fee and dividend about 3 years ago, I was extraordinarily excited, and I get excited every time I hear this because of such positive results for the environment and for the economy. For years and years and years, the economists and the right have been telling us we can't do anything because it's bad for the economy. Now we have something that's good for both. It's good for the economy and good for the environment. And we're so excited, and Scott's going to be around, and when we get through, I'm sure he'd be glad to answer specific questions. But right now, I'd like to thank all of you for coming again. I'd like to thank all of you who had donated, and I have some extraordinarily good news. As the invitation said, what we are trying to do is commission a similar study here for the state of Arkansas specific. This will cost in the neighborhood of some $40,000. I'm just overwhelmed to announce tonight that we have raised $36,300. A huge chunk of that, well over half of it, came from one anonymous donor. We have another anonymous donor who said if we can raise $2,700 tonight to get us to $39,000, that donor will throw in the $1,000 and put us at the magic number. So, yeah, we are extraordinarily excited. So, we appreciate your support. We'd like you to think about it. And if you were going to give something, maybe you can give just a little bit more, because this is going to be a tremendous asset for Arkansas. This is going to be something we can take to policymakers in Little Rock and show them, let's do something. Instead of saying no to the Clean Power Plan, let's say yes to good jobs, a clean environment, and a better Arkansas. Thank you very much.